In WIT, over the next 2 weeks, Team 7-3 will be participating in the Patriot Pen competition. It is a writing prompt that is organized by the local VFW. We like this writing because it provides you a chance to compose an essay for a more authentic audience. Instead of writing for your teachers, you're going to be writing for a real purpose. You're going to be writing for a competition, judged by members of an important local organization. Your main audience is the set of judges at the VFW. That's the Veterans for Foreign Wars. It's the organization that most people who have served in the military join after they return from their service. It has a very wide-ranging mission that we will explore in a moment. They organize the Patriot Pen competition as a part of that mission in order to get young people to think about service and patriotism and what makes America special. We also like it because it's a very open-ended essay. It's a theme essay, not a text-dependent analysis. You have the chance to generate your own ideas and to find some evidence that backs them up to provide a lot of your own explanation and thinking. In addition, it has a word count. This is a type of writing we don't often do in schools, but instead you will see as you prepare for college applications and job applications. It's a way to have to make yourself very disciplined with your word choice, your structure. It really pushes the revision process. This year, the prompt is My Voice in America's Democracy. And so you'll be thinking about questions like, what's your role in the country? How do you use your voice or your impact? How do you make a difference in the world around you? It's a difficult topic and will take time to actually come up with ideas. That's the other reason we like this essay. It's not just let's jump in and start quoting something based on the prompt, but it's let me stop and think and gather ideas on a big, complicated, important topic. The Patriot competition is run nationwide. It is organized by the VFW. Almost 100,000 students participated in the competition last year, including many local ones from places like Bermudian and Conewago Valley. Much like a sports competition, it goes through its own version of a bracket. You begin at the local level where you're competing mostly against students from your own school and then students from nearby schools. The VFW will read all of the students' essays, and then they will choose a certain number of winners to move on to the next level of the competition. Usually, the top 8 or 10 students at New Oxford get to move on to the next level. They also receive prizes from the local VFW. $100 for each of the essays in that top tier, and then $200 for usually the top essay or maybe the top 3. From there, there's a chance to compete at the district, regional, and state level, and even move towards the national level where there is a much larger cash prize. In class, we looked at an example of a winner from previous years. If you would like to do that, you can search on Google for Patriot Pen winners, and the VFW collects their presentations of those awards and their reading of the speeches. As I already described, we think the Patriot Pen is a valuable opportunity for our kids because it's different from the traditional writings that we do in class. These are often what we focus on when you are writing in social studies or language arts. Yet the Patriot Pen looks more at these traits. This should say formal because it's a mix of more informal and informal style. So, who is the VFW? Who are we writing for? Which should shape our audience. Most of the time as an adult, when you are writing, you're not preparing an essay for a teacher. You're preparing something for a very specific purpose and a very specific audience. And understanding that, which is why we do the Fat P, should shape the types of information you include and how you structure your writing. In this case, our audience is the VFW, and you can see their mission and vision on screen. Take a moment to read those and think about what their goals would be. You can pause the video as you ponder. I think this list of core values really makes clear some of the essential items from those mission and vision statements. They are working to advocate for the current veterans, so they meet with a lot of politicians, they put out information to local communities, they try to make sure that veterans are taken care of, that their service is honored. But they also are people who are engaged and invested in America and their communities. People join the military because they believe in America and they want to make our country better and they want to secure its future. And so they try to share that message with their local communities as well. They try and promote patriotism and service. They try to set an example by volunteering across the community. And so as a result, those are the things they care about as well. In many cases, it's important for you to keep that in mind as you're writing. When you're answering this question, you want to emphasize ideas that relate to patriotism and service, veterans, and the military, because those are the sort of touch point core values that the judges will care about, and so that they will prioritize when they're reading their essays. When they score you, there's not a really detailed rubric. That's another reason we like this essay. Instead, they're looking for three things. First, your knowledge of the theme. So do you actually pick ideas that show you understand this question, the power of your voice in America's democracy? Then they look at how well you explain those ideas. Are you finding facts and examples, and are you giving descriptions that make your ideas come to life? Finally, they look at your writing itself. Are you using good conventions? Are you writing in a style that makes your ideas clear? They're less picky about the nitty-gritty spelling details or grammar, and more about how your words and sentences and paragraphs work together. So, what do we mean when we say my voice in America's democracy? I feel like this is a term that students hear but don't exactly understand what is meant by it. When we say voice, like the official definition of that simply means the sound that comes out of your larynx when you are speaking. And we can use that to talk, to sing, to shout, to grunt. But what we really mean when we're saying we're trying to give a person a voice, or we're trying to use our voice, it means how you use all of your ways of communicating to actually engage in the world. How do you impact the world around you? This is your way of speaking up, speaking out. How do you communicate with those to try and share your ideas and make the world a better place? Pause the video to take a moment to read what's on screen to try and wrap your head around what we mean by our voice in America's democracy. I think what we're really trying to say is, what is my role? What is my way to be a part of America's democracy? That's what they're asking us here. So what we'll give you is a brainstorming sheet. It has the information on the back that we just went over. The goal here is to just generate a ton of ideas. If you think about this essay, you're probably going to end up writing maybe 2, maybe 3 big ideas. But before you just start jumping into those details, you really need to take time to think. What is your voice in America's democracy? And in a true writing process, what good writers do is they'll take time to just sit there and come up with a big list. If we're eventually going to narrow ourselves down to 3 big ideas, they might start with coming up with 10 or 20 possible ideas. Even if some of them are bad, even if they know they're bad, they might jot them down just because they could give them inspiration for better ideas later on. That it's this process of getting your mind working. And so we want you to create a short bullet point list. These can just be naming. You don't need to explain yet, right? You're just giving the big idea. What are some answers to this question? To make your life a little easier, you could also think about sort of these sub-questions. These are ones created by your teachers that we think will help point you in the right direction. And so if you're struggling answering the big question, you could try and answer a couple of these questions instead. At the moment, this is low commitment, so we just want you to put things down, and then eventually we will pick our best ideas from that list. We took some time to share those ideas with others and maybe begin to consider which ones we thought were at the top of our list, but that's about where we ended during our first day.